quick reads. I've got some burning quarterback questions for the fellas. Harry, I'm going to start with you. Should the Rams trade Matthew Stafford?
Gosh, no. You're talking about a quarterback when a lot of people were injured last year, weathered the storm, kept things afloat. And also when it came to the divisional round versus the Philadelphia Eagles, had a 3rd and 2 at the 13-yard line with a chance to go in and score a touchdown to win that ball game. Matthew Stafford is still a top 8 quarterback in the league. He can make every throw on the football field. No, you have a young nucleus. Les Snead has done a great job finding diamonds in the rough. You keep Matthew Stafford, folks.
All right, quarterback quick read number 2. Darlington, this one's for you. Should the Steelers run it back with Russell Wilson?
Matt, I'm going to say no. I don't think the vibes were always awesome with Arthur Smith and Russell Wilson, the offensive coordinator being Arthur Smith. I just don't think that it was necessarily the perfect fit. Yes, we saw optimism early on. That kind of diminished, came back to reality a little bit. This team needs to get younger at the quarterback position. Russell Wilson doesn't do that for him. I know they want to keep one of the two, Russell or Justin. I honestly think they probably should move on from both.
Yeah, Justin Fields would lean to the youth. A comment you made a moment ago about him being the younger quarterback. And speaking of vibes, the last one, Mike Tannenbaum, where should Aaron Rodgers play next season?
He should vibe with Pete Carroll in Vegas, and here's
That's
why.
That's a vibe.
Yeah. When you sign a 73-year-old head coach in Pete Carroll, it's to establish credibility. And who else does that great but with Aaron Rodgers? And I think their personalities actually, Matt, is a really good fit. But between Pete Carroll and Aaron Rodgers, that would give that franchise some stability. And when you have a young emerging star like Brock Bowers, someone like Aaron Rodgers can hopefully help him maximize his ability.
It is interesting because Pete Carroll kind of gives off that new agey vibe type coach, and that would play well with a player like Aaron Rodgers. And so Mike T says Rodgers to Vegas. Harry, what do you think of that move?
So I actually like that because you need a coach and a quarterback to contend and compete in that division. But I'm going to go with the Tennessee Titans. If they decide at number 1 overall that they're going to take Travis Hunter, why not bring in a veteran quarterback? We've seen in post-game pressures how Brian Callahan was displeased with Will Levis at the quarterback position. And trust me, as a guy who played for the Tennessee Titans my last 3 years in the NFL, I was displeased my damn self. So get a quarterback, a veteran guy, bridge gap or whatnot for a year or two. Try to make things work. We know he likes to run an empty formation from his days in Cincinnati with Joe Burrow. Get a veteran quarterback in there if you don't draft one number 1 overall.
Darlington, get in there.
I just don't think that I just don't know that Aaron Rodgers would want that at this point. I mean, I'm not trying to put words in his mouth here, but when he's considering the potential of retirement or continuing to play, I would imagine that pursuing a Super Bowl and securing his legacy would be more important than just continuing his career. To me, the Titans don't make sense. I like Tannenbaum. Hey, for once, Tannenbaum, I'm giving you love here. I really like that idea with the Raiders.
See, congratulations.
Yeah, after he's done sweeping on Magic Johnson's name, we finally got some production on Jeff Darlington.
Yeah, once he got up to another Hall of Famer for one. Much more for you guys coming up.
Well, it's a great question and obviously a very important one. Kevin Petula, to me, feels like the front runner from the perspective that he has been with Nick Sirianni for 7 years now. He was the passing game coordinator with the Eagles this season. He's in line for what would feel like a promotion, and it would allow Sirianni to move someone into that place that he knows and trusts completely fully. Now, this is also a guy who's an associate head coach for him, so it does feel like Petula, at the very least, would be a prime candidate.
I'm just shaking my head. What's the deal with Joe Burrow's deal?
Well, Joe Burrow's deal is such that he made clear during Super Bowl week that he would be willing to restructure it if it was going to help keep his nucleus together. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, both possibilities for long-term extensions for the Bengals. Now, I think that the foregone conclusion here is that T. Higgins will take off in free agency, but all of those guys really like being there. I think the Bengals will try to get something done. I just don't know if it's a realistic possibility given how much it would cost to retain all of them.
Can the quarterback sacrifice some of the money for the good of his teammates, and can they go on a run? And finally, what can you tell us about Travis Kelce's future?
I can tell you that this guy just needs to breathe for a moment here. He made very clear on his New Heights podcast that he wants to kick the can down the road in this decision. I know where this conversation is going, and I can't wait to get there. I want to bring Mike T in right away. But listen, Travis Kelce wants to take his time with this decision. It's an important decision, one that Kelce will make in due time, and that is my spin, albeit perhaps very positive, toward one Travis Kelce.
You have no idea how much I was cheering for you to drop that. Because you just
I never drop it. It doesn't happen. You are a hater. Just like Mike T is a hater about what he's going to say about Travis Kelce right now. And I'm telling you right now, I never drop it.
You do it so arrogantly, and I love it. All right, drop the book, because we are going to talk about Travis Kelce and whether or not he should retire. And you looked at the production this year. He was still one of the most targeted players in the league, Mike Tannenbaum, but big picture, with the step back, should he step away?
Yeah, he should. And taking nothing away from a legendary career, he's one of my favorite players of all time. He's tough, he's productive. For most of his career, he's a big man with little men feet. But on a yards per game basis, it was actually the lowest of his career. And a big challenge when you're running a front office is you want to pay a player for what they're going to be, not for what they are or once were. And in his case, he's going to be 36. And when you watch him, Matt, he is a skill-diminished player. And there's an old Coach Parcells axiom, and when you heard Travis the other day with his brother, which is when you're talking about being retired, you are retired. And he's going to have a majestic next career, whatever that may be. And it's time. Father Time is undefeated. He's not the same player. It's time to turn the page, and in 5 years, we'll be talking about him in Canton.
So, Harry, should the Chiefs want Travis Kelce back?
So it's a delicate situation. When you look at what Travis Kelce has meant to this organization, he is a walking Hall of Famer. And, second in career postseason yards, only behind Jerry Rice, and also touchdowns. I think Travis Kelce has earned the right to take his time and make this decision on his own. I don't think the Chiefs organization should force him to retire. But at the same time, when you look at his career lows, and I'll also say this, whenever you can have a guy that has 823 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns, has career lows, that's telling you the quality of player he's been for the Kansas City Chiefs. But from a personal standpoint, like we all just mentioned, if you're talking about retirement, you're probably already close to doing that. The luxury that he has is a brother that played a professional sport just like him, and his brother Jason Kelce. So he can lean on his brother during these tough times and making that decision to be able to move forward. But I do believe, based on what I've seen, this season and also in the playoffs in that Super Bowl game, it might be near the end for Travis Kelce.
I would say this, though. I think this is more than just about productivity or where he's been, as much as it is about what he can do to impact this team. And I look to Rob Gronkowski in 2020. He had retired, to your point. He felt like he needed to leave the game, and he did, and he ultimately came back. That season in 2020, when the Bucs won the Super Bowl, he had 45 catches and 623 yards. Travis Kelce this year had 97 catches and 823 yards. His production was actually higher, not in terms of touchdowns, but his production was such that he could still make an impact on the field, just as Gronkowski did in 2020, but he can also make an impact in the locker room. I do not think that Travis Kelce's value to this team is to the point where it's not worth him coming back. Now, to your point, he has to make that decision himself if he's all in. But ultimately, I do think that's a decision that he needs to make, and one that if he decides that the Chiefs can be a better team because of it.
Yeah, you could argue, too, that the lack of punch
let me also say this really quick, Matt.
Yeah.
Let me add this, too. When you look at Travis Kelce from a postseason standpoint, this is a guy also since 2014 and coming into the league, he's played 25 postseason games as well. So that's extra toll on your body. That's a season plus more games, right? Extra that he's played from a postseason standpoint. So that is something else that you have to consider when it comes to this situation.
Yeah, Matt, to Harry's point, you heard Travis say that the other day, that cumulative effect of things. And again, I understand what Jeff is saying as well. Like, let's give him some time.